And a good Tuesday evening, everybody. Chris McDonald with you. We're so grateful to have you. We're so grateful to have our dear friend Leslie Millwee on the phone with us. We're going to get right to her in just a second. We want to tell everybody we're grateful you're here tonight. I got a lot of breaking news, and including the second indictment of Jim Comey, and also King Charles is in the country tonight. It's amazing how the Dems love kings when it's not Donald Trump. They gave him a standing ovation today. We got all this to talk about with Miss Leslie. We're grateful you're here. Just give us to the end. I'm going to take you some questions, and we'll have you interact with us shortly. But here is the one and only Leslie Millwee on the phone with me. Good to see you, dear. How are you tonight?
Thank you. I am great. I am loving a lot of this.
Well, I'm not gonna die. I was driving home today, and I just peeked down at the phone and saw the X go crazy, because X is usually where I follow my news. I don't even look at the Breitbart and Gateway Pundit much anymore, but because those X accounts usually are more truthful than even the right wing media sometimes. But yeah, it was burning up. And the interesting thing about this, Leslie, is this indictment tonight did not go out of Washington. It went to North Carolina. And they actually issued an actual formal arrest warrant for him, whereas the last time this crooked judge up there in D.C. basically shielded him from any prosecution, really didn't even get to the courts. I don't think Jim Comey, that smirk that's on his face tonight, is going to be there much longer. And this goes to a bigger question tonight. It's also not just Jim Comey, but they also indicted the assistant to Anthony Fauci on this COVID scam that the country went through about 6 years ago. And he's about to face justice. All I got to say is, Viva Todd Blanche. Man, AG, my vote for AG 2026. I don't know about you. I'm glad to see this coming, aren't you?
I love him. I mean, he, sadly, as much as I was rooting for Pam Bondi, I think he's done more in 6 weeks than she did in 14 months. So I think that's good. I think, I don't know if she was hesitant as part of Trump's cabinet. I don't see her being hesitant for his direction, but maybe she was, because, I mean, what Todd Blanche is doing is just amazing. It was so delicious when I saw that pop up on my phone. I get about 3 or 4 sources, and they were all just delicious. And then when I heard the arrest warrant had been issued too, I mean, let's perp walk him just like we did Trump.
No, absolutely.
Let's perp walk him.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up Pam Bondi, because I'll just throw this out there to you. My brother I asked him about Pam Bondi back when she resigned, and you know, he was Todd's a no nonsense kind of guy. He's like his brother. But he said, bro, he said, I always wondered if she was not a plant of the deep state. And, you know, and he like, I think a lot of us, I felt like you did. I was pulling for her. I liked her. I mean, I felt like she was, I'll put it like this. She was a good Fox News personality. She may not have been the best AG,
Yeah.
but like Christy Nome, Pam Bondi was always running her mouth on television. But I do want to ask you, do you think that she was part of this swamp? Do you think that a lot of this was swampy, or do you think she just was over her head?
I honestly think she was over her head. And the reason I think that is, I mean, even going back 10 years when she was AG of Florida, she has been a Trump supporter since day one. I mean, there might have been a time she endorsed somebody early on. I'm not even sure. But I always felt like she was on Trump's side. Her conviction, I think she would have to be a really good actress to get by with that. With that being said, I think she was totally in over her head. And maybe she didn't understand how bad the deep state was. I think that's probably part of it. It's got to be so overwhelming. How do you fight it, you know, if you're not familiar with that?
Well, that's an excellent point, and I'm hoping you're right. But these days, you know, and I'm just going to say this: over 8 years of Trump's first 4 years, 2016 to 2020, and then these first 2 years now, a year and a half, basically, because he'll be coming up on 2 years at the end of this year. He's been backstabbed so many times, Leslie. It just, you almost get queasy in the stomach when these people resign. But it's amazing what Todd Blanche has done. And I had heard some negative things about him, but I think all that was just blather to get people not to want him to come into that office. If I was Trump, I'd just put his name out there and say, okay, this is my guy. I think what he's doing, he's slow walking that because he don't want to have to deal with Congress and all the junk that the Dems would put Todd Blanche through. And I think it's genius to let him just do his job and burn the whole corrupt situation down and let Trump ride this out as long as he needs to. And I don't think he's in any hurry to name somebody. I like Todd Blanche. I'm all Viva Todd Blanche tonight. I know that.
Absolutely. I think he's done a lot of things. And he's kind of a no-nonsense where I felt like Pam was, I think she would even say things that sounded good, like she did with the Epstein, and overpromise. And, maybe that's her personality a little bit, just being verbose. I understand that. Trump is like that as well. But she can't be like that. She's got to be the attorney general. So I thought this was a really important thing for Todd Blanche. I'm with you. I'm impressed. I love his no nonsense. I feel like we've really been able to get to know him a little bit the last year or two, just being behind the scenes. And I think he's proving himself.
No, I do too. I think Pam Bondi's problem too was Fox News. I think she again wanted to be a TV personality, and she couldn't get the strings of that. And Kristi Noem faced the same fate. You look at what McMullen's doing with the Department of Homeland Security. It's not a I promise not a sexist comment, but you've got men in the job, and men are they're handling it, and they're not out there for the image. They don't care. They just want the job done. And that's not a sexist comment, ladies, but you leave that alone. But look, the fact of the matter is that I did not believe the Department of Justice would even pursue Comey again. I thought they would drop it, and I'm very happy tonight that they've not dropped it. But I think that bodes bad for other fraudsters. And I read tonight that there is a group of Department of Justice agents that are on their way to Minnesota, and they're going to be reopening the fraud case on these daycares. And it's amazing that Ilhan Omar we got a cartoon tonight we're going to show the folks when we do the videos from Branco, our dear friend Tony Branco, and her, it's amazing that $30 million income just poof. I don't know what I'm talking about. Where did my $30 million go? She's not talking about, she ain't showing that off anymore, is she? It's amazing. It's amazing,
yeah.
Louise.
And guess what? All those people they're going after, they are in her district. What are the chances that 90 people who have an incredible level of fraud are in her district? So you can't tell me that's not where a big chunk of this money is coming from. They were probably using the winery as money laundering. Now it's closed down. I'll be really excited to see how they handle this. I hope she's toast. And I love the Fauci thing too, like you said. Fauci's an 85, 86-year-old, 87-year-old man now. So he's not going to go to prison. But yeah, let's get his underlings who had some responsibility, and let's shame him into the human piece of crap that he killed millions of people at his hands.
And he did it with nothing but lies, Leslie. And, he weaponized a virus. This is how sick the left is. They weaponized something that was actually happening in the country. I do believe that there was a virus going around. I've had people on the show before that wanted to swear up and down it was all fake. No, it wasn't fake, because I had it. Almost died from it.
Yeah, and me too.
I'm going to tell you, it was a brutal. I'd never been as sick in my life as I was with it. I'd never experienced that. But what they did with it, the control factor, the mask, the shots that they forced people to take or lose their jobs, the criminality of the funds, the COVID funds, the lies that were told by Fauci, it was probably one of the worst things, short of the Democrat Party, that's ever been perpetrated on this country. And it's
It
one of the
is.
worst things, worse than Barack Obama. As Clint Eastwood said, we'll find out one day, and I think we're already finding out, that he was the greatest fraud perpetrated on this country. We're going to find Joe Biden was the greatest fraud perpetrated on this country. Virginians are finding out that Spoonbagger is the greatest fraud on Virginia. Mandami's the greatest fraud in New York City. He can't pay for his free stuff, so he's begging the state to bail him out. So look, but it was, if you remember that time, they used it to defeat Trump, but they used the death of millions of people to do it, and that is a sick party. That is a sick mindset, but that is the Democrat Party of 2026, is it not?
Oh, absolutely. And, when I'm listening to this gentleman talking, using that word loosely. He's talking, and I'm thinking, you didn't just help kill and perpetrate killing millions of people. You wrecked the world economy. You wrecked the United States economy, the strongest economy that we had in probably 50, 60, 70 years, maybe since World War II. It was so many dozens of things that these people did. It was a trickle down effect. It's like this happened, then this happened because of this. And I mean, I don't know if we'll ever completely recover everything that we lost,
No,
honestly.
I don't think we will. And the people that lost their jobs, you think about the airline pilots, the teachers. I know that our dear friend Cleo down under, this was it wasn't even an American thing, Leslie, it was global. I
Oh,
mean,
I know.
they were basically imposing these things on countries in Australia, Greece, the European Common Market, European area of the world, Britain, England, France, all these nations. Look, I don't think the damage. I think what you just said was so true. I don't think we'll ever quite grasp the scope of the damage that thing did, and the people behind it that were doing. And it was all a lie. And that's what makes me so infuriating and mad, that when we got down to it, that none of us were, the people that took the shots were no more safe than those that didn't. It was not being
No.
spread by those that didn't wear a mask. It wasn't some kind of just thing that fell out of the air from a bat. It was concocted in China. Trump knew it. The world knew it. Trump was doing everything he can. And I know people got on Trump about the vaccine, and Trump was not the one that forced the vaccine on the public. The states did. Trump was, as
Right.
president, was in a no-win. And, I hear all these people complaining, well, Trump pushed the vaccine. Trump pushed the vaccine. But what was he supposed to do? You had people dying. And I mean, I'm not saying I never took the vaccine. I didn't take it. I would never take it in a million years. But, I didn't fault people that did. And I didn't claim they were going to hell if they did. And I didn't claim that they were taking the mark of the beast, as some stupid Christians did. And I hate to use that word tonight, but that's what I heard. Christians were posting this stuff all over the place. If you took the vaccine, you've taken the mark. Crazy nutcase stuff. But that's what's bred when lies are being told about something. And as we look back on it, I just hope they throw the book at this guy. I do. I hope he's not the only one they go after. I'm with you. I hope it's underlings plural. And I hope they clean house. And even if Fauci don't go to jail, I do hope they indict him. I do. I hope even if he don't go to jail, to put it on record what a fraud this man was. And this is the other thing I got to ask you: why have we allowed this to go on for 6 years and Congress not be able to do something? Rand Paul, all he does is run his mouth, and then withstand the president on things that really matter, and then get out there and be a prima donna on all this stuff, but do nothing. Is that what we've come to in this country?
I am so over him. I am over him. I think after what we've seen in the last couple of years too, and with Mark Wayne Mullen and stuff, is Mark Wayne Mullen a bad, because he's macho and all those things? I think he's just a 40-something-year-old macho man. I don't think Rand Paul would ever even know what that was if it hit him between the eyeballs. I just think he's petty, and He's not for the country because he's for him. Now, he's been through a lot. I understand being beaten in your yard. That's a horrible thing. But I can't stand him. I don't think he stands up for America. I'm sorry that he was beaten. And I'm sorry that Mark Wayne Mullen was going to kick his you-know-what.
I was trying to be nice when you said he was beaten. I was thinking maybe he's got some sense. That's what my dad used to say to us. Say, we're going to beat your butt, boys, or I'm going to beat some sense into your head. And I was thinking of my late father about doing that. I'm not meaning to make fun of that. But some people need to have their something beat, Leslie. I'm just saying. Go ahead.
I know.
Go ahead.
Well, and, the one great thing that I will always believe to my dying day that was great about COVID, the one and only thing, it exposed how badly these teachers are indoctrinating our children.
That's so true.
Oh my gosh. So if nothing positive came out of that, we know to be leery of the government and shots and things like that. But most importantly, we have a handle on what is being taught our children. And you'll notice people came out of the woodwork then. They're still coming out of the woodwork. I mean, the guy that shot the agent was trying to kill Trump Saturday night. This guy's a teacher.
Yeah.
A teacher.
It's crazy. Well, not only that, my friends, think about the number of teachers have gotten fired in the last 48 hours for posting videos that they were unhappy that Trump didn't get shot. And these are teachers teaching our kids out there.
You know what? And when you're that deranged, you can't help being prejudiced in your actions. That's a hate that's built into you. Trump derangement is very real. That is a hate that children 4 years old pick up on. And if people don't think it isn't, they better think twice. They better get their kids in a really great public school that they have some knowledge of, or take them to the Christian school or homeschool. I mean, it's terrifying. And my 12-year-old grandson, I am so worried. I mean, I told my daughter and son-in-law, you guys have to monitor everything that he is supposed to do. Social studies, history, anything like that. You have got to monitor it. Even though we're in a very Christian bedrock community, that doesn't matter. You only need 5 or 10 wackos out of 100 to stir things up. So yeah,
let me just change that number for you. You just need one. Dan Bongino said that Saturday night after all this happened. We're gonna shift gears to that. I want to talk to you about what happened Saturday night. But Dan Bongino made an excellent point, and he said when he was in the FBI serving under Patel, he said it changed him. And he said, they saw the threats. They got the threats against Trump. They saw them, they weren't going to release every single thing to the public that was going on behind the scenes. But he said he looked at President Trump and what this man's gone through. There's 3 attempts on his life, Leslie, in 2 years. 3. I mean, there's no president
that we know of.
That we know of. That's exactly right. There are outward threats. And he said that he looks at the threat level of Donald Trump to Donald Trump's life, I should say, is like the 9/11 thing, that the terrorists that tried to do what they did on 9/11 and what they did do, they only have to be successful once. The Secret Service and the FBI and the security around Trump, they have got to be right all the time. And he said that what scared him about Saturday night, he said that man, Mr. Allen, if he would have brought, say, an explosive into that ballroom, or wherever they were having the hotel room where they were having the event, if he'd had maybe automatic machine guns, like he had a rifle, a gun, and several knives, he could have been armed even worse. He could have been like the Boston Marathon bombers. And buddy, I'm going to tell you something. That could have been devastating, and it would have been a massacre. It wouldn't have just been Trump. It would have been a massacre. And I just want to change gears on you. What in the world is going on with this country that the left cannot stop trying to kill the president and just kill their enemies? They're killing everybody they don't agree with, trying to.
Oh, I know. And It's continually gotten worse. I really did think at some level, especially after Joe Biden was elected. And of course, that until Trump decided to run again, things had cooled a little bit. And then they just went after him with full force when he said, I'm coming back. All these indictments, all these things. But it's like any other human being, Chris. If you are told something over and over and over and brainwashed, and you hear it year after year by so many people, you're going to start to wonder if it's true. What if he is a demon? What if he is Hitler in the 21st century? What about these things? And as long as we allow people, now I'm all about free speech, but I'm telling you, I think a lot of this borders on, it really borders on telling people to go out and assassinate. Well, they do tell them that. And when you do that, there has to be some line of accountability. What it is, I don't know. I really don't know. But really, these people that want him dead and all of this, what do you do about it? How do you call their bluff on that? How?
Well, I don't know if you can. I think that we've reached this level that because I am so sick, and I'll just get your take on this. And another thing Bongino said Saturday night, he said he used a few expletives along the way I can't use tonight, I won't use, but he said he's something sick of the left trying to claim that it's both sides. Hakeem Jeffries has been out there for 3 days telling us that it's both sides. Harold Ford, who I thought was a pretty moderate Democrat, got on the 5 yesterday and was railing and railing and railing that when Trump said fight, fight, fight back in the summer of last year, 24, when the guy took the shot at him in Butler, or 25. No, it was 24, wasn't it? It was before the election.
It was 24, yeah.
It was 24 before the election. That was inciting violence. Harold, you have to be a buffoon, a plain dumb buffoon, to believe that Trump was telling people to go out and kill people. No, that's not what he was saying.
Ridiculous.
That's ridiculous. And this is what the right does. It's what James Carville does. It's what CNN does. It's what Laura O'Donnell does. I want to ask you about Laura O'Donnell. I don't know if you saw the interview. I didn't see the interview, but I watched the clip of her reading that manifesto. How much lower than ant spit? And I'll use that word. I want to use another word. But how lower than ant spit do you have to get to do something like that, to read the manifesto of a crazy psychopath that's basically accusing Trump of pedophilia, raping, killing, treasonous, and her turning to him and saying, this is what he thinks about you. Is this true? That is absolutely a fire. If I would have been her boss, what I'd have done, I'd have told the control room, yank the program right now. And she'd have been fired on the spot. Fired on the spot.
It's despicable and it's inexcusable. And she should not only lose her job, to say that to a sitting president, the lack of respect. I don't know how you get that back. And some people would argue, well, Trump doesn't have a lot of respect for some things.
Oh.
I'll give you that. Okay. But you don't do that. You don't do that on 60 Minutes to a president. I love how he came back. Just watching her posture and her tone and her smugness. Do you know how delighted she was to say that and repeat that?
Absolutely.
And there has to be, it's like this. I'm hearing about this Mangione thing, all these people saying, it's civil murder. Are you kidding me? You are taking up for a murderer? You are taking up for these people that take human life because you don't like what they did for a living? Seriously?
But Leslie, it's no different than what they've done with Iran. You've got the same media pulling and giving state secrets to our enemy and begging Iran to kill Trump, begging Iran to undermine the United States, hoping that this Iranian situation to go bad. Britt Hume made a great point to Brett Baer yesterday. He said the Democrats have so invested in the failure of Iran. If Iran becomes of success. And, look, it's up in the air right now. There's a lot of work that's got to get done. But President Trump is on the right track, I believe. But he said, look, it's going to be hard to sell this at the midterms that, hey, the Dems stood with our enemies. The Dems stand with killers. The Dems stand with this left-wing hate. The Dems stands with Tyler Robinson. The Dems stand with Cole Allen, who tried to kill the president. I mean, that's who they're ultimately standing with, Les. And I cannot believe this political party of terrorism and communism people are stupid enough to elect these people and put them in power.
I know. And you would think they would learn. I think from what I hear talking to people, I still think the economy is a huge thing. Dollars of gas higher than it was this time last month or 2 months ago. All of those things are immediate. And I always like to say too, well, the grocery prices, they haven't come down much or only some things. When did grocery prices ever come down in the history of the world? I'm sorry, it costs a lot of money to manufacture and make things. You might get peaches cheaper in the summer than you do in the winter. I'll give you that. But it's ridiculous to say, yeah, the price of cereal is $5 a box now. Well, guess what? 10 years ago, it was $4 a box, and that's called inflation.
But
that's called the economy.
But let me ask you a question, and I mean this very sincerely. When has we as a people become so shallow that we would sell our soul to the devil over a box of cereal? I hear the same argument you do about the economy. Okay, the economy is a little turbulent right now because we're trying to fight off an enemy that's basically wanting to get a nuclear bomb and basically wipe Israel off the map and wipe half the Middle East off the map and hold the world in extortion and, stop the flow of oil and cause oil prices. If people think oil prices are high now, what would happen if Iran held the Strait of Hormuz hostage with the threat of nuclear retaliation against Israel if we did anything to stop them? People don't think, Leslie, with their heads. They think with another part of their body that they sit on. And I don't mean to be so blunt about it tonight, but I am so tired of it. I mean, and I say tired, I'm not shocked by it, but I cannot believe that we're that willing to sell our soul for a box of cereal that we care more about, that we're paying more at the grocery store, which is not Trump's fault. It's not anybody's fault. You said it. Economies, and look, all economies have an ebb and flow. They go up, down, up, down, up, down. We're in a time that we're in a little tough spell if we'll just give it time. But you know what part of the problem is? You've got a feckless Congress that will not put anything in law. And, you've got the uncertainty of the stock market. And again, Trump cannot do this by himself, Leslie. He's got to have that Republican House and Congress working with him.
I am sick of them. I am sick of this. We have all three houses. We cannot do anything. We can't get anything done. We're letting 2 or 3 people that are wacko in the House run the world. And pretty true in the Senate too, but to a lesser degree. But I mean, I'm mortified by that. I can't believe I've decided there's 2 kinds of Democrats. Those that are uneducated that say, oh gosh, you mean the ICE agents killed people in Minnesota, or they're the rabid ones. There's not hardly any middle of the road. I'm like you. I always thought Harold Ford. I would like to have a conversation with him. I think we could reason and come to some understanding. Not Kat Tiff. Not Jessica Tarloff. I just detest that. I will not watch the 5 when she's on there.
I can't watch her when she's on there. I can't. I get too upset about it. I do. I'm with you.
But, those are the 2 kinds, the rabid and the ones that are uninformed. And those good old blue dog, middle of the road Democrats, they're not around anymore. They don't exist anymore. And that's our problem, because there's still a lot of conservatives. I'll just use the word Republican because that wasn't true. There's a lot of Republicans that socially they may be more liberal. I know Republicans that say, look, I really am not for abortion, but it's up to a woman. I don't agree with those things, but they're not closed-minded to, you know, think things through and decide what they feel. Democrats don't have that ability. I'm sorry, they don't. There's none of them left. Middle of the road Democrats. I think that's a huge part of it.
Well, this definitely, yeah, I'll agree with that. And the party's gone so far left, and now the Republicans actually are the Democrats of the '60s. I mean, the Republican
Yeah, they
Party,
are.
the Republican Party has followed the left. They've gone left, and you don't have too many hardcore conservatives. And Leslie, look, I'm not here to push an ideology tonight, but I am pushing a Bible theology. I'm pushing Bible tonight to say that God's ways are, I hate to tell the world at large out there tonight, God's not into political parties, but God's not into baby killing, and God's not
No,
into perversion, and God's not into
no.
corruption, and God's not into open borders, and God's not into a lot of things that the liberals believe, and I hate to say a lot of conservatives have started to believe. And
I
and
know.
God's got a biblical, you want to call it conservative path, whatever you want to call it, but God is a God of righteousness. That's the word I'm looking for. Righteousness exalts a nation. Sin is a reproach to any people. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't care what party it is. If they're out there pushing unrighteousness and pushing corruption, which they all ultimately are anyway, we need to understand that we need to hold on to the Bible, and that should be our belief system, not a political party. And I know the question is asked, and I know it's been asked of you. I get it asked all the time. Well, what do we do? Who do we vote for? And what happens when we get conservatives up there and they turn and they go left? That's just the influence of the swamp. It's the influence of DC. But you can't stop voting, and you can't stop praying, and you can't stop believing that ultimately
Amen.
we're going to
Amen.
get somebody in there that can help turn this thing around. Our time is running out, though. I do
It
sense
is.
that, and I don't know how to put that into words without being a killjoy tonight. I do believe we are in the fourth quarter. I believe we're in the 2-minute warning of America. And this 250th anniversary that's coming up in July, I don't understand if I hope people understand just how prophetic this is. A nation's empires don't last this long, Les. We're on
I
borrowed
know.
time as it is. And we
I
better get
know.
our act together soon, or we're not going to have an empire. We won't be here for another 250 at this rate. We just won't.
No, no. Well, when you get to a point like we're at with not only the social issues, it's not Bible driven. I always tell people, the Bible is just, you wanted a roadmap and a pathway, you've got it. Whether you choose to take that road, it's up to you. But that has been given to you. And if you choose not to follow it or go down that path, then that's on you. But, I don't know about you. Most Democrats that I meet, they're not Christians.
Most
I,
not.
I don't I don't know very many Democrats that are Christian. And you I have to believe as a Christian, that's prophetic. What does that mean? That means pretty much I know I probably am in opposition to 90% of the Democrats in Congress on 90% of the things. I mean, I really do believe that. I believe our brains are wired so differently that I could not even begin to understand when they do things. I think they're driven by money and power because they have a hole where the Lord should be. And I think that's what is a driving force. Obviously, they all go in there and get rich. And that can be said for both
Yeah,
Republicans and
I was
Democrats.
about to say that's a both party thing there, and I'll have to say that there's a lot of conservatives on the Republican side that are not Christian. Being
That's true.
conservative don't make you a Christian.
No,
And there's a
absolutely
lot of
not.
them that don't really have true faith, and that's what makes all this hard. But I would say this: it's like my brother explained it to me one time, and he was right. Um, Sometimes you have to hold your nose. It's better to vote in a bad Republican than a good Democrat, and the reason
Absolutely.
for that is the balance of power. Because if you give the Democrats a foothold, say you get one Democrat out of 50 that is good, and you vote for that Democrat, well, that one Democrat may swing the House and the Senate to the control of the full left-wing extreme communist
Exactly.
tyrannical jihadist party. And he said it's not the best it's not the best scenario in America. It's not the best thing to do, but sometimes you just have to hold your nose. And I got a cartoon. I'm going to put it up right now. You probably can't see it, but they will. Branco today, Tony Branco, our dear friend, he was on our program last week. He did one of the greatest video cartoons, and he's got a guy with a pair of scissors, and he's cutting his nose. You've heard this saying to cut off your nose to spite your face. Well, he's done that in trying to get people to vote right in the midterms. And he says the GOP isn't working hard enough to stop the Democrats' insanity, so I'm not voting. Well, I'll tell you what you do when you don't vote. You cut your face off. You cut your nose off.
That's right.
You cut the country off. You can be stubborn and you can think you know everything and have some kind of righteous cause. And I've heard people talking about, well, it's just ungodly to vote. That is the most asinine thing of a spiritually deranged individual that needs Jesus, to be frank with you. You better be getting out there and voting, because if you don't vote, you're not going to be able to say that kind of stuff, because they're going to take your right to say it away. Am I right?
That's right. Oh, absolutely. And the gerrymandering. This, I think we have a couple of real turning points coming up. One is all this gerrymandering, whether it's going to stick. The two is, if you want to nuke the, what do I want to say?
Filibuster. The filibuster.
Filibuster. And I think those two things, and then I think one of the Supreme Court justices may retire. It isn't one that I'd like to retire, but, Thomas and Alito are 80 years old.
I know.
Do you take a chance on a Democrat getting in 2028 and having another pick that will swing the balance of power for sure? So I don't know. I mean, I think those three things just are so important in our country. And if we can't pull at least two of those back and, win on those, and I'm sorry, we have no reason not to win. We have the power. And get off your rear and do it.
That is just common sense, right? What you just said is common sense, buddy. And I'm with you. And that's what's so infuriating about this. Just like John Thune tonight. John Thune has got the absolute power in his hand to pass this Save America Act by one moment when he says, hey, we're going to end the filibuster. We're going to vote on the Save America Act. Because I'm going to tell you something. If the Save America Act passes, it don't matter what those Democrats do. They cannot control those voter IDs. And I'm going to tell you something. They can't cheat when they've got to show an ID at the poll. And again,
it's going to be a game changer.
It will be a game changer. But Thune hates Trump. And that's the problem. He don't like Trump. He hates Trump. And I think he's rooting for Trump to lose. And I think I read a report tonight that there are finally some people seeing the light. Because I understand you only need 5 senators to call for a roll call and elect any leader. And I've heard tonight that there is rumblings that a lot of these more to the right senators of Thune is a little fed up with it. And they are going to do this. Look, we're in May. The clock is ticking now. We're down to, 6 months before the midterms.
Right.
And we got to get it together. We just do. I want to go back to the assassination. When you were listening to this Saturday night, what has been the most grievous thing that you've seen since? I know that these teachers are going out there basically bragging that, well, not really bragging, but almost sad that Trump didn't get whacked. But I have to tell you, CNN and The View and these left-wing news outlets, Leslie, I hate to say this tonight. I mean, I cannot see how people that dumb can have a job in journalism. I just don't get it. I just don't get. I used to be into journalism. I used to write for a newspaper. You have to have a little bit of common sense to be able to have a job like that, unless the paper is just...
Well, obviously that's not true, Chris.
Obviously that's not true. That is correct. That is correct.
No. No, you're right. I mean, they're just left-wing think tanks, and they vomit their information to each other, and that's the way they get their information. They feed off of each other. It's like a piranha, with something that's been dropped in the fish tank. I mean, they're just animals. But it's not about America. And the thing that bothers me is I'm concerned about the Secret Service and their ability to stop things. What do you think about that?
I think that what Dan Bongino said Saturday night, the American public better listen to. The Secret Service has to get this right every time, and they almost didn't get it right Saturday night, even though they acted with bravery and quickness. That guy should have never gotten that far to begin with, Les. That's what scares me. He walked into the lobby, and they should have never, ever. Look, I've been to these Trump events, and buddy, I mean, it's like 3 hours to get through those lines because they frisk you and they do everything. And I'm
I
thinking,
know.
why in the world would they not have had that place where you go through for security outside before people even came into the hotel, and had maybe somebody at the door? And I'm not trying to money one a quarterback, because I respect the Secret Service, I respect the people, but you're protecting the life of the president, and not only the president. That guy was targeting his cabinet, and Pete Hegseth, Stephen Miller.
They were all there.
They were there. Patel was there. All of them were there. Caroline Levitt's about to give birth to a baby. J.D. Vance and Melania. And then you've got this jackanapes, and I got another word for him, Jimmy Kimmel, that basically said it was a widow in waiting, a widow excited to be in waiting. And now, and I'm going to say this about the Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrat Party, there's not been one Democrat, two, out of all the Democrats that I know of, that have condemned that attempt Saturday night. John Fetterman and a lady out in Washington, I don't know her name, but she's a Democrat representative from the state of Washington. She posted on X Saturday night, "We need to stop trying to kill the president." Now, I don't know if that was a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic mark, but at least she said it. And we'll take it at this point. But you have not had one single Dem condemn the act. Hakeem Jeffries did not condemn the act. All he's doing is railing on a pregnant press secretary that's about to give birth, who has been the best press secretary this country's ever had. That's what he's done. That's who he's railing on. That takes a big man, Hakeem. I hope you understand that you just showing your manhood picking on a woman like that. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
It is. It's repulsive, and I think true colors come out. Like some of these teachers, these people, this is who they are. They're telling you who they are. Believe it. Believe who these people are, because don't tell me you weren't warned that these people were evil and they want your president dead. And I encourage anybody that's listening or watching this, call ABC and tell them to get rid of Kimmel. Call your local ABC affiliates. Get rid of this cancer on the American people.
Well,
he is a cancer.
But let me play devil's advocate a little bit. Let's put this in perspective. What if tonight Chris McDonald and Leslie Millwee got on this show and we made the statement, Leslie, I wonder if Michelle Obama, if this would have been reversed, let's just say that was Barack Obama sitting in that chair Saturday night, okay? And somebody walked in there and started trying to shoot up the place and kill him and kill his family, kill everybody in there. And we got on our show tonight, and I said something to the effect, boy, I bet Michelle was getting excited to know that Barack was about to get whacked. What do you think would have happened to this show? What do you think would have happened? You two would have yanked this network down. We would have never been able to air again under this guise of network. They would have censored us. They would have terminated the network. And you know something? I wouldn't have cared if they would have, because I would have deserved it. You don't say stuff like that. You don't call and you don't say statements about leaders. It's like calling fire in a theater. You just don't be that stupid to say it. And, and I want to go ahead and go a little bit further with this, and I'll get your take on it. I have publicly, and I don't care what anybody out there tries to claim, when Joe Biden was in office, there was not one thing I agreed with that man did. I detested the sound of his voice, just like I detested Barack Obama's voice. I couldn't listen to him. It made me puke, the perversion that was in that White House. It made me angry at times to what he was trying to do to these pro-lifers. It made me angry what he was saying about Trump, calling MAGA extremists and all these names. But we never, ever called for any harm to come for him. In fact, we did all things to encourage our people to pray for him, to pray for him and pray for his soul and his family. But you do not get that from the left. No, they don't
You're
call.
never going to get it.
They don't pray for us. They want us dead. They want us dead.
I know. Well, I'll tell you the difference I see between you or Megyn Kelly or even Tucker now. They are on their own network. Now, if people want to quit listening and they want to shut them down, I think they have to come after him that way. But Jimmy Kimmel is on a network that is funded by people, that's owned by Disney, and I think that's different. I think that is a different take. I think there has to be some semblance of respect. I mean, this isn't the first time he's done it. He's done this 3 or 4 times. He's done this twice in the last year. And he is just goading anyone. Now, you and I go into my employer tomorrow and I say, you know, you guys really suck. I don't want to be here. But, you know, I don't like the way you run anything, but you're gonna let me keep working here because I'm good. And
I can see you doing that, Millwee. Actually, I can actually see you doing that. You know. But anyway, go ahead.
No, well, I was going to say that's like Jimmy Kimmel. He is not there to represent a political party. You are your ideals. You are. Megyn Kelly is. All these people in the podcast and their own network, that's different. I even think Fox is different. I don't think Fox goes far enough. I've been watching Newsmax because there's a few people on Fox. I don't trust them as far as I could throw them. I can name 2 people right now that I think are just abysmally transparent with their dislike for Trump.
Well, Jackie Heinrich's one of them, one of the White House reporter that Trump gave her the time of day. And see, that's the other thing that just people, if they have any questions about what President Trump's integrity is, look, the very people that have been slicing him to pieces and slandering him and lying about him, he called every single one of them Saturday night. It didn't matter who they were, and checked on them to make sure they were safe. That's a godly man. That is what godly people do. That is what people of faith do and people of character do.
I agree. I agree. I mean, I think we're setting the bar too high. I guess that's my bottom line.
It's a good point.
These people, you know, these people, they don't think the way we do. They don't think through love and compassion and grace. That's not who they are. And if we expect it, I mean, shame on us for thinking they could rise to that level, because that's not who they are. It's not who they are. So, I mean, I just feel differently that Jimmy Kimmel gets an audience. We choose to be the audience for you and all of these other podcasters. Jimmy Kimmel has a show on one of the 3 networks.
I'll agree.
Of this country. But that's why I think that's different.
But Leslie, I think what you're saying there is the spiritual state of our country. And it goes back to the box of cereal. And you made a great point with that box of cereal comment, and it hit me tonight that you're right about that. People are all up in arms about the cost of goods, and as they should be. I mean, look, nobody wants to go to the grocery store and spend $200 on 6 items. Nobody.
I know.
But at some point, we've got to ask ourselves the question, what shall it profit us if we gain the whole world and lose our soul? Why is it the profit that we get that cereal down to about $3 a box or $2.50 a box, and we've basically sold our country down the toilet to communism and tyranny for the sake of getting the cereal box down, which is not going to come down under those kind of agendas anyway.
Well, you're going to have a state or city mandated exactly what Mondami is going to do.
What he's doing now.
It's exactly the same. This is communism 101. If you don't get that, I mean, what are you going to be able to say? Yeah, I waited in line 6 hours, but guess what? I saved $22. I mean, that's what we're trading. That's what the Canadians have traded for healthcare and the Europeans. I mean, they traded there. I can't even remember who said it today. Somebody was talking about how broken our healthcare system was, and it is. There's no question. It's gotten horrific. But you know what? It's still better than any other option out there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you.
You
I'm with you.
know, so we don't die like waiting on a list for cancer treatment in 3 months, or to get a mammogram, or to get a prostate exam. We don't die waiting for a test. I'm amazed that these people are like, yeah, we're going to save on groceries. How are you going to do that? The city that's already in debt billions of dollars is going to bail you out? Really?
No, I'm with you. I'm with you 1,000,000%. Did you see Erica Kirk Saturday night? I was really moved by her, because this hit home with
dreadful.
her.
Oh my gosh! It's been
Hit
6
home.
months since
6
she
months
lost her husband, or
since
8
she
months.
lost her husband, and it really, what happened Saturday night hit her hard, and it hit me hard. I think we had a lady, I think it was Mary Cleveland, last night in our chat, and she asked one of the best questions. I'm going to ask you this, and I know we've gone an hour already. God, this hour's gone by so quick. She made an absolute excellent point, and what she said is this, and I'm going to run this by you. She said she's very concerned that our nation, and not just the left, but us on the right, these things are happening in such a manner that we're becoming desensitized to it, to the point that it's become normal hat of our politics. In other words, this is how we solve things, because we allow it to happen, and it desensitizes us to how ugly and dangerous this is, to become a nation that kills our political enemies and tries to take them out when we don't agree with them politically. And I thought about that all day. And Erica Kirk understands this more than anybody else that we're talking to tonight. She saw her husband shot in cold blood in front of her for a political difference. This kid is demonically possessed. This Allen kid is demonically possessed to have done what they wanted to do. The nutcase in West Palm Beach is a nutcase filled with demon spirits tonight.
Absolutely.
But the thing is that we see this, and it doesn't even faze us anymore. Look, I was shocked. I mean, I was like, here we go again. And at first, I have to admit, when I first saw it, I didn't feel anything, because I was like, well, they've tried to kill him again. And you know something? We need to be upset about it. We need to be raising something tonight. We need to be upset. We don't need to take that attitude that, well, they just tried to kill him again. Look, it's not normal for them to be shooting at the president. And we need to understand that tonight. Am I right on that?
Oh, amen. I can't believe you brought that question up, because I was thinking this very thing all day Sunday. I thought, what has happened to us that it's a news blurb, and we never really follow exactly what happens to all of these people. They don't really get served justice. I mean, we're still waiting for the but look at the major events. 2 or 3 for Trump. Charlie Kirk dying. This shooting. The CEO.
United Healthcare, Mangione.
Yeah. I mean, think about what's happened in the less than 2 years. How incredible! If these things had happened 50 years ago, it would have been just staggeringly unbelievable. Even 20 years ago, I mean, just think, we still talk about Reagan and being in front, and that hotel, being there in front of the Hilton, me thinking about him, and me thinking about just how many times that not only are people desensitized, people are cheering for it. That's the really sick thing.
That's the sick thing. And let me give you a great example. I saw a video today. Johnny Carson, the late Johnny Carson. I was a sophomore in high school. I was on a baseball field that day, practicing baseball the day Reagan got shot. And one of the kids I played for, his daddy and my dad, they were friends. At least they were at the time. They were pastors. And he came down to the baseball field, and he was talking to his son. And we were listening, and he said, I just want everybody to know that they just tried to kill Ronald Reagan. And some of the kids were laughing about it, and he rebuked them kids, and he said, this ain't no laughing matter. Well, that night was supposed to be the Oscars. And I don't, I vaguely remember the Oscars then. I didn't care about it. But Johnny Carson was hosting it. And they canceled the Oscars that night. Listen, I'm going somewhere with this. Because even though they didn't get to Reagan, they attempted to kill him. And even this is Hollywood. This is liberal Hollywood.
Yeah.
They felt like that it was not the right time and place to be celebrating anything because the president got shot. And Johnny Carson got up the next night and said such, and he got a standing ovation from the liberal Hollywood elite of that time of 1981. They agreed with what he said, and he said, and look, Carson was brutal on Reagan. He was not Reagan's biggest fan, but he recognized the office of the presidency. He recognized and respected the fact that this was the president of the United States. And he didn't have to agree with him to respect the office. And we don't have a bit of that tonight. We have nothing of that. Nothing of that tonight.
And when you have that, when you have 95% of all of these so-called journalists, and they've been given an outlet and they've been given the networks, I mean, it's an uphill battle to fight. And it goes back to us standing up to, we don't stand up like we should. We don't fight. We don't always try to make the right thing happen, even if we can't, really do that. We can at least make an effort to try. I don't know. I'm always outspoken. If you ask my opinion, oh my gosh, you're going to get it. So,
from you, Millwee, you seem so sweet. I don't believe that for a second. I don't see that ever being I don't see a bad bone in your body. I may be wrong about that, but anyway, that's interesting to know. But no, I understand what you're saying. I know.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the thing with conservatives for the most part. They're really pretty nice people. And they don't, they're not going to cuss you out like you're going to get from the blue hair. I'm sorry. It's just not the way we operate.
Well, it's not
I'm not saying that doesn't happen. There's been times when I've been at the brink just for the craziness, but then usually common sense takes over and I go, no, I'm not dying on this hill. This is ridiculous. This person cannot be redeemed. Walk away. Or, and that's like in life, period. I mean, people make really bad decisions and you have to let them do that. But when it starts affecting me and my children and my grandchildren, then you've got to fight it.
You got to fight it. You got to fight. One couple of quick questions. Do you think? Let me ask you the question back to you about the Secret Service. Do you think that they're going to have to tighten the ship up a little bit right now with him? They've already kept him from public appearances outside. They've convinced him not to go outdoors again. Do we see them try to basically draw him back even from these events? I mean, he's not going to do it. He's just Trump. That's just Trump. But listen, I don't know what they have to do, but they're going to have to tighten this up. They just can't let people walk in lobbies of rooms where he's at with guns and knives and do this stuff, because eventually somebody, and I'm just saying what Bongino said. Bongino's concerned. He said, look, they don't have to be successful but once. He said the Secret Service have got to be successful 100% of the time. And he said, look, the odds are just not there. I will say this, and I'm going to take this to a spiritual level tonight. I believe if there is not any other proof than the hand of God being on this president, is the fact that there's been 3 attempts on his life in 2 years, and he's still walking, and he's still talking, and he's still running the country. And every
Absolutely.
attempt that the Dems have had to try to destroy him, whether it be through lawfare, warfare, lies, slander, the media, basically pulling for our enemies, it seems like his enemies, and Comey is one of them, are being hung on their own noose. And if there's
Absolutely.
not any more proof to the morons, and please excuse me for using that word for this, I apologize to the real morons, for the morons that don't get this, that hate
Absolutely.
Trump and call Trump the devil and Trump the Antichrist and Trump this and Trump that and Trump that and Trump this. If there's no more proof that he does not have a divine hand on him, and God's called him to this office for such a time as this, and if we will just take a step back, take a deep breath, and thank God that we got a president, and let me just go ahead and say it again tonight. He's calling the nation to repentance. He's reading the Bible from the White House. I've never known any president to do that. I can tell you what, Bill Clinton never did that, did he? And
No.
nobody else did. No Republican presidents ever did it. President Trump has protected faith, and he has people pray for him, and he has a faith council. So this is the other thing people do. When they can't trash Trump, they'll start trashing his faith advisory board and slandering them. And I know that there are some wily characters in that bunch that I'm not a big fan of, and I don't listen to their theology, and you know, I'd never attend a church they pastored in a million years, but I'm going to tell you what, at least they're praying for our president.
That's right.
And we should be happy about that. But are we happy?
No,
we're not.
And you're absolutely right. And I think about that quite often. The hand of God is over Trump, and he is not going to let Trump die until he feels like Trump has finished his work on this earth. If you're right, I think that's just so blatantly, incredibly obvious to any Christian. They should see that. I think most of them do.
No,
I don't know that
I'll agree.
You know,
A few
they feel
do.
it at our level. But yeah, we're fighting demon warfare every single second of every single day with, you know, these people literally come out of the woodwork. People you thought were normal, like Tucker. I mean, I haven't followed all of his ideas. He usually made sense to me. Now, today, Megyn Kelly, I heard she had said something about how dare they could come after this man, and we have to pray for him and get around him. I'm like, but last week he was a horrible husband and pathetic. Pick a side, babe.
That's just the hypocrisy of the podcasters and the clickbaiters, and it is ironic. I got to ask you this. I'll just go ahead and keep you another 15 minutes. I got you already. So might as well just go ahead and keep you. Don't be sending me a bill for overtime. Don't be sending me a bill for overtime, Millwee. That's all I got to say. Isn't it interesting that Mrs. Owens, Candace, is out of the country, ironically, the night that all this happens, and so is Fuentes. And ain't that is that the irony of ironies, that these two losers just happen not to be in the country at the time all this takes place? I've got to ask you the question. Do you think that there was any pre-knowledge of this guy's attempts and efforts to do this? I'm not saying by them, but do you think there were people out there that knew what he was doing and didn't say nothing?
Yes, because let me tell you, it was so orchestrated. This guy is pretty smart. You know, there's a difference between crazy and smart and, you know, evil. This guy's evil and he's smart. I think that there is, I think, and I'm getting this from Dan Bongino. I've been listening to his podcast since he came back. I'm telling you, I think he feels like there is such an incredible deep state that we have no idea. When he says things like, this changed me for life, 1 year of my life has changed me forever. And knowing how Trump has literally had to go in and fire entire departments and move things around. And I think it only takes a couple of really bad seeds to really mess things up. And I don't know. We probably won't be around, Chris, when all this comes out. I'm still waiting for all the JFK stuff and, and Jeffrey Epstein. So will it ever come out? I think we'll just have to look for the proof and identify it ourselves because.
Well, right now, I would just take the truth about the 2020 election coming out. Right now, I would take that to be a good start, is to figure out exactly how they did what they did in 2020 and make people pay for it. Pay for it.
Yeah, I agree. That is the reason I'd like to bring it up. I have prayed long and hard about this, and I was so distraught when he lost in 2020. And I always thought that he won, but because I thought there was so much election fraud, which there was. I mean, COVID was perfect for this. What an incredible ball of luck you get with all of these things going on. But I've always thought that I want these people, but God knew what was our timing. And I don't think if we hadn't had that 4-year break, that we
Totally
would
right.
have the leadership that we have now, and things would be so much worse.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Who would be our president?
Well, look, think about
Harris?
who we would have tonight with the 250th anniversary, the Olympics this year. He was the president of that. This America Read the Bible Week.
Yeah.
The World Cup's coming. And it's just like this whole 4-year period. King Charles being here today. We ain't even talked about the king being here. By the way, I didn't know these Democrats like kings all of a sudden. Did you see these morons giving standing ovations in Congress? Isn't it a isn't the mental disorder called liberalism nothing but hypocrisy that they applaud? They stood up and applauded every word he said. I didn't think they liked kings, Millwee. I didn't think they liked kings.
I know. Well, there was some parody going around today. Congratulations to the 2 kings, and it had Trump and King Charles.
It was funny.
I mean, you got to love that, yeah, because, they have a no kings protest, which I think if you pulled out 5 of the 10 people, they would have no idea why they were there except to collect their $52. I mean, I really believe that, but... Yeah. Anyway, that's beside the point. I just have to, when I struggle with this so much, and that's one reason why I think I kind of knew Trump was going to win in 2024, because we were in such a bad place as a country. And I just remember praying, God, if you want to save us, give us Trump or give us who we need to rebuild our country and at least stave off the demons. Give us some time so that we can help people understand what a horrible, evil country this has become under all of this cloud of evil. And I really feel like not everyone got it. I mean, obviously there's Trump derangement.
Thank you.
But you know what? A lot of us did get it. A lot of us did get it. I mean, aren't your eyes a lot more open to things than they were 5 years ago?
Without a doubt. But I will tell you something else that my eyes have been open to is the depth of hatred on the right, not just the left, but the depth of people that are so spiritually, and I'm not going to say ignorant, but they are so spiritually Trump deranged too, that even Christians who go to church every Sunday, who claim they're conservative, claim they're spiritual, claim they're Christian, godly, or whatever, that they are so narrow-minded and they're so tunnel-visioned that they make Trump out to be a pastor. In other words, he has to live at some kind of standard that they themselves can never live up to themselves. But then they would not say a word during the 4 years of Biden and Harris. But all of a sudden, Trump gets in, and everything he does, they nitpick, they tear down, they criticize, they complain, they murmur. Leslie, God had a nation of Israel that did that, and God ultimately gave them what they wanted. And I'm afraid tonight what you just said, it scares me to death what you just said. And I'll tell you why. Because God did that for us. God
He
did give
did.
us a man. And instead of us being grateful for it tonight and thanking God that maybe he's, Lord, he's not going to be perfect, but we at least see a man that's trying to lead the country in righteousness and still trying to lead the country back to God and still trying to do what's right and do what's
Right.
lawful and remove lawlessness from the land, which is godly things. And he's trying to get the perversion out of the country and remove, again, the influence of this in our locker rooms, with the girls' locker rooms and the men, the transitioning and the transgenders reading fairy tales to 5-year-olds. Those are godly things. And I hate to say this tonight, but there are Christians that do not see that as such. All they see is all of his past, all of his failures, his attitude, his tweets. They can't stand him. And then you sit there and ask them, well, who would you be okay with? They can't tell you. Because this same bunch cannot tell you one person that they would be happy with. And I guarantee you, if they name somebody, it wouldn't be 5 minutes before they'd be complaining about them too.
Oh, absolutely.
That's the state of our country. That's the state of our country.
Yeah, and there's so many of them, and as far as the media, and I guess in a way it's gotten better that we have more outlets for conservative views, but in another way, so do they. They have more than they had. You still have that poison. Maybe it kind of didn't matter that podcasts exploded and stuff, because so did their evil podcasts. There's more of those haters, but I think the average person in this country really, I think they're good people. I don't think they believe in abortion, and I'm very prejudiced. I'm in a state that's very conservative, so I probably don't. I'm telling you, when I was in California, it was devastating to have a conversation, even with somebody in the grocery store. It was so depressing. I worked on a campaign there in 2018 for a congressional seat for Kimberlyn Brown, who I dearly just grew to love. When she lost, and we campaigned so hard, and we fought, and we did tireless meetings and speaking. I didn't, but she did, and I was trying to help. I'm blown away by how devastated I was. I thought, you can do all this and you can show someone's goodness, and people turn a blind eye. They're so blind. But I think that goes back to Christ, and that goes back to being a Christian.
Spiritual.
You have to, absolutely. These people are not spiritual. They're not driven by the love of God or the Word of God.
No, they're not.
These people do not have an anchor like we have.
No, I'll agree. I totally agree with that. I want to read Lori Farrell's comment to you, and good to see Lori tonight. And folks, listen, I'm going to keep Leslie 5 more minutes. If you've got a question for her or a comment, go ahead and put it in there. I'm going to keep her till 11:30 tonight, and we're going to wrap this up. And we'll be back Thursday night. We got a double feature Thursday night, and then Friday we'll have a show too, probably late. But I want to read you Lori Farrell's comment. I think it's excellent. And Lori, good to see you tonight. She says, Trump obviously values the American people more than his own life. It's biblical in the sense of a man laying down his life. Make no mistake, he knows the risk, but he believes someone must give it their all to try and save America. I think that is an excellent way to put everything that we've been trying to say tonight.
That is spot on.
That is spot on, and that is exactly how that's why we respect him, and that's what we voted for. I'm going to just tell you tonight, I voted for seeing Jim Comey indicted. I voted to see this border closed. I voted to see this fraud dealt with in this government. I voted for Doge. I voted for these people that are being kicked out of office because of their scumbaggery behavior and the things they're doing, and yet passing laws and screaming about Trump's life when they themselves have got so much sin and so much dirt and so much corruption in their own house that they can't shake a stick at. I'm good with that. I voted for that. I voted for Fauci and his crew going down. I
Yeah,
voted
absolutely.
tonight for our financial markets being secured and us not being the foothold and being the footstool of China and the footstool of Europe and the footstool of Canada and being everybody's lapdog and telling the UN to get its stuff and get out of our country. I voted for that.
Absolutely.
And you know something? I'm glad Trump's doing every bit of it. I don't care how much he infuriates the people out there. I don't care if people don't like his tweets. Grow up, get a set, get a therapist, get a dog, get a cat, but stop worrying about what he's saying and understand what he's doing. Because,
Absolutely.
and you know something that's sad tonight? He's the only president in history we've had that started out with his wealth was in the billions, tens of billions, maybe before he ran in 2016. He's the only president that has lost income since he's been in office, Les. His net worth has gone down. All these other guys, their net worths go up. Trump's has went down. And he's done it
That's just like you said. He has a mission. He feels like he was called to do this. He's willing to take one for the team, so to speak, and he's done it.
Yeah.
He's done it over and over and over again. If you don't believe that, if you don't understand that, I mean, it is who he is. He's been the same man for 10 years. I do find him a little abrasive. I don't care, though. You know,
I've never cared about that. I've never cared about that.
I do not. I don't either. I mean, I understand where women say, oh, he's macho or he's this or that. You know what? Decent human men usually are.
Well, I was going to say,
hate to be so crude, but they
no, I'm with you. I don't look. I'm not a wuss, and we say what we say on this show. We say it pretty hard sometimes, and some people like it, some people don't. Chris has been around for 8 years, and the Lord's grace, Chris is going to be around till they put me 6 foot under, because I'll be here every night. Whoever wants to be out there listening, they can listen. I love everybody, but I'm not going to sit back and be a wuss about things. We're going to tell it like it is, and I love everybody. We try to do it in love, but you know, sometimes, Leslie, and I think this is where we're at. We have gone so long with I think that the truth has been so distorted and so watered down and so I don't know what the word I'm looking for here, sugar-coated. Everything has been sugar-coated for society. Everybody's got to be patted on the back. And I'm not saying that's not important. We don't need to harp and hate people and be hateful in our rhetoric. I've never heard anything that Trump said has been hateful. I believe he's just had some hard truths for the country. He has given his opinion. And you know, that's the other thing. If you don't agree with Trump's opinion, that's not being a bad American. That's not being bad to Trump. There's a lot of things I say on this show that people don't agree with, and I hear about it every day. There's things that I hear from others I don't agree with. It doesn't cease me from being their friend. It doesn't cease me from praying for them. It doesn't cease me from loving them. They may be a different perspective. And there's a lot of things that Trump says that, you know, I could probably think maybe I could say it better or feel better about it or have a different angle about it. But I'm going to tell you what, I will tell you one thing about 100% that he said. I've never heard him say anything that ultimately I ain't agreed with. To be frank with you, that's just Chris. That's just me.
He's got such a great global view, world view, and a U.S. view and a stance. And if you don't see that, I mean, it's like beating your head against the wall, the old cartoon, you know. I'm sorry, I don't understand all the good things and positive things for America, and you have to harp on you didn't like his tweet. Really?
That's all they care about. That's all I hear about all the time. And let me ask you this as I close tonight. Do you think that we're going to get down the road 10 years from now, if the Lord tarries, and Leslie Millwee and Chris McDonald still alive at that point?
I plan on it.
We hope we are. But do you think that this country is going to look back and appreciate this time that we've had with Trump? I'm afraid that we're not. I don't think we appreciate it now. And I think that until it's lost, until we get a complete communist in office like Mandami, and the country goes to the brink of pure destruction, we're never going to grasp what we had in Donald John Trump for 8 years.
Well, I think we are just coming out of how very bad things were with Biden. I mean, I think we're just scratching the surface on some of these horrible things like COVID, like rigged election, like all the bad things. Not even he did, because he wasn't capable. His staff did and his cabinet did. I think that's going to continue to grow. I have to believe people understand what economically and spiritually and everything that Trump has done. I just hope there's more Christians that get that. I don't know though, Chris. You're right. I don't know. I think the way that the libs have been rewriting history for so long, maybe the story won't even be told or told correctly. I don't know.
That's a good point. No, that's an excellent point. Because, Leslie, we're coming up on 25 years of 9/11, and that we're having to, my generation, me and you, our generation, we're having to tell these kids that actually happened because they've taken it out of the textbooks. They don't even tell kids what went down on 9/11. And when you say 9/11, they say, what is that? What happened on 9/11? And you have to explain to them, that's because this liberal, bitter-root generation of vipers has done nothing but undermine the Constitution of the United States. And I'm going to say this to my audience tonight. You may think it's Trump. You may think the issue is Trump. It's not. It's you. They don't care and want you being able to be free. And I got my freedom shirt on tonight. They don't respect your freedom. Trump is just standing in the way of their ultimate goal to destroy you out there tonight. And I don't think people get that. Because when Trump's gone, what's going to be a kicker is when Trump's gone, they're not going to have him as their punching bag anymore. They're not going to have him as their excuse. And then when the country, again, goes full-blown communist, then who are we going to blame? I'll tell you who we're going to have to blame. We're going to have to look in the mirror. We're going to have to look in the freaking mirror in our soul to ask ourselves, why did we get here? And I know that's tough talk tonight, but I'm just at a point. McDonald's got much. I've just made a decision this year that it's let it all hang out here, and I don't care at this point. I love everybody, and we love people being here. We've been here 8 years, and I've enjoyed this run, and I'm not. That's how I feel.
I'm so wound up when I get off the phone from talking to you that I'm like, I cannot go to bed for 2 hours. I wish I'd said that, and I can't believe I said that, and oh my gosh, I'm wound up like a top.
No, I'm wound up like a top too. That's why we're going to do the Leslie and Chris show, or the Millwee Mac show, or the Mac Millwee show, or something like that soon on Spotify. We'll tell everybody about that soon. Listen, friend, I appreciate you. I'm going to give you a minute or two. Final thoughts, and I'll let you go. Thank you for being with me. We've gone an hour and a half. I'm going to have to say goodnight to these folks. Wrap us up real quick, and I'll say goodnight to these folks off camera.
I am thankful for you, Chris. I'm thankful to God that you and other people like you have a voice and we're able to speak truth to power. Not everyone is doing that now. We're in a bad, bad world with so much evil. And I honestly, it's like Saturday night, I got on my knees and I'm like, thank you again, God. I don't know how many times. I know we can never thank you enough, but thank you, God, for saving this man and for saving all these cabinet members. And like you said, it's just proof that God's hand is on this man, whether you like him or not, whether you believe he's a Christian or not. God uses people, and he is being used for God.
Yeah.
And I believe that 100% with all my heart.
And you can say that and not worship him, and that's the other thing they accuse us. That's what they accuse us of doing. Well, y'all are just worshiping Trump. No, we're not. No, we're not. What are you worshiping? No. There's people that ask me that. I want to ask them, well, what are you worshiping?
Yeah.
I mean, what is your belief? And they can't tell you, or they just stare a hole at you, or they give you some kind of new age nuance that they believe in. And I'll take my belief system any day. My belief and faith ain't in Trump. My faith is in God. But I will tell you this, I do believe the God of heaven has his hand on this man. I've never seen a leader like this in my lifetime. And I probably at my age won't see another one down the road after this. But like you said a while ago, and I'll close this out on this, your kids and grandkids and my kids and grandkids are going to pay the price if this generation gets this wrong. That's all I got to say. And
Absolutely.
we'll leave it at that. Friend, get some rest.
Thank you for having me. You bet.
Next week, we'll have you again. Talk to you soon.
Okay.
Much love, friend.
Thank you again.
Good night.
Much love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Leslie Millwee, everybody. Put some fire in that house. That's good stuff there. And grateful for her tonight and so forth. We don't have a lot of time left because we went a little late with her. But I want to just read a couple of things. There was, Cleo sent me this today, and we're not going to be able to have time to talk about this tonight, but we may talk about it Thursday night. But there was something went on in Australia tonight that was troubling. And we're going to talk about there was a concert that the terror victims, the Sydney benefit concert for the victims of the Bondi terror attack had to be canceled because many of the band was refusing to perform with Jews. It was very sad, and we're going to talk about that Thursday night. Also, again, we mentioned Fauci, a former senior advisory to Anthony Fauci, had been indicted in his role. I want to put something up because the other thing that is out there tonight is that every single one of the people that raided that church in Minnesota is now under arrest. They found him, they've indicted him, and they're under arrest tonight. That's what I voted for. SBLC this week indicted. This is all since Bondi was fired. AG Pam Bondi was fired. The SPLC has been indicted for funds to the KKK. Fauci advisor charged over COVID. Somalia daycare is raided. That happened today. They raided him in Minnesota. Comey is charged. By the way, his charge is over that 8647 thing that he did in the sand at the beach, basically calling for the death of President Trump. Well, they're charging him for that. That's felonies. Patel said he can get 20 years for that tonight. I hope he gets more than that. 4 rogue prosecutors have been fired just in the first 26 days of AG Blanche. Firing squad is reinstated. Trump means business, folks. We're going to have law and order in this country. And whether we want that or not, we can go kicking and screaming. But I voted for that. Because when we have law and order, your family and my family, we're safe at night. When we have law and order in this land, murder stops and rape stops and pedophilia stops. And people stop getting knifed and shot and killed and businesses burned down. And all these videos you see of these people getting pulled over by police officers and them spitting and trying to run over cops. By the way, just common sense, if you try to run over an ICE agent, you're likely going to get shot. And if you start doing stuff like that, whatever happens to you is not the ICE agent's fault. I don't know if we need to draw that in crown for a few folks out there, but I think we do. And tonight, as I said, we heard that the all the people that were, let me read this again, make sure I got it right. All 39 anti-ICE rioters who raided a church in Minnesota have now been tracked down and arrested per Assistant Attorney General Dillon, Hamid Dillon. She's a great lady too. So, there's a new sheriff in town. The world don't like it. America don't like it. Some Christians don't like it. All the left sure don't like it. I don't know if Prince Charles likes it or not, but I tell you what Prince Charles did say today. I was actually proud of him. He told this land, he told Congress, he said the one thing that has kept America free for 250 years, you know what he said tonight? Faith, the Christian faith. Now, coming out of Prince Charles's mouth, that's pretty big. And God himself touched that man to say that tonight. Said it right in front of the most vile den of thieves at Congress up there in Washington, D.C. tonight. Said it to their face that the thing that has kept America free has been the Christian faith of this nation. And folks, it was the Christian faith of this nation that gave those colonists the incentive to break free from Great Britain. That's why we're speaking American tonight, not British. Just a thought. Just a thought. We're going to talk about all this Thursday night because we're out of time tonight. It has been late. Me and Leslie went a long way, longer than we thought we'd go, but that's okay. I'll still have these videos Thursday night. And I'll amen myself. I'll amen myself on this Tuesday. Anyway, Renee, his contract was over anyway, but he should be fired and they should do more. Good to see Mary Cleveland in the house. Mary, your statement last night was really good. I appreciated that statement. Stephen Fanahoy. Good to see Bear. Cleo's in the house earlier. Good to see her. God bless her. And Marshall, good to see you, buddy. Janice, Zoanne, all of you. Prusky, Susan, Mary Sullivan, and I know there's others out there. We had a good audience, robust audience, almost 200 folks tonight. That's good. Live, and I'm sure more watching some replay. Listen, if it was earlier, I'd keep going, but it's 1:45. I want you to get some rest. We will follow these stories. Follow us on the Telegram room at the MacFiles Faith and News Network. We have a Patriot Breaking News Telegram room for the news side, and we'll be posting a lot of these stories overnight. I got to show you one meme that I saw today, and I'm sorry. I sent this to my brothers, and I'm the old guy of the family. I'm the oldest, so when old brother Chris, when our old man McDonald makes my younger brothers laugh, then I take pride in it. Well, I saw this, I think it was on X today, so I had to show this to you. And I'll leave this with you tonight, not to scare you, but checking in on the Dems to see if they've calmed down yet. And then you can see the picture down there. I guess not. I guess not. I guess not. And all I got to say is that these folks just full of the devil. And I've been saying that for a long time. These folks are just full of the devil. And that meme proves it right there, I think. God bless you. God bless your families. God bless this great nation of America. Pray for our president, folks. And pray for this host. We need it. Trust me. Thank you, Leslie Millwee. If you enjoyed Leslie tonight, put some fire in that house. Put some fire in that house, and we'll see you back here. See you back here in the morning on the Bible study. We're going to need it after tonight. And then I'll see you back here tomorrow night for our midweek fellowship service on the face side, and then back here Thursday night and Friday night on the news side. A week full of shows. We got some great guests coming. Stay with us. Have a good night, everybody. Be blessed out there. Pray for your country. You know we love you. And we're fighting for faith, freedom, and for you. God bless and good night.